There's something you need to understand about why this video found you right now. This isn't random. It's not just the algorithm. It found you because you're standing in the final hour before dawn. And I know that sounds poetic, but stay with me, because what you're feeling right now, this heaviness, this confusion, this sense that you're doing everything right, yet nothing is moving, that's not failure. That's the last stretch of darkness before the light breaks. And here's what nobody tells you about that final hour. It's the darkest one, the coldest one, the one where you see no evidence that morning is coming. It's the moment where you start asking yourself, what if this is just how life is now? What if the sun forgot about me? But it didn't. The sun is already rising. You just can't see it yet, because you are still standing on the wrong side of the horizon. Right now, everything looks the same. Every day feels like yesterday. You keep showing up, but nothing seems to change. But something is changing. Something massive. You just can't see it yet. And maybe this video reached you in this exact moment to remind you of something you've forgotten. It's almost here. Everything you've been working toward, everything you've been holding on to, everything that feels impossible right now, it's about to click. And once it clicks, you won't need reminders anymore. You won't need motivation videos. You'll be living in the light you once prayed for. Let me tell you what's really happening right now. You're tired. Not just physically. This is a deeper kind of exhaustion, the kind sleep doesn't fix, because you've been carrying something heavy for so long. You forgot you were even carrying it. The weight of, is this it? Is this as good as it gets? Did any of this effort even matter? And every day, nothing visibly changes. That weight gets heavier. You start thinking, maybe I missed something. Maybe everyone else got a map I didn't. Maybe there's a secret I wasn't told. And then you look around. You see people moving forward, smiling, succeeding, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? But here's what you're not seeing. They had their final hour too. They stood exactly where you are right now. They doubted, they questioned, they almost gave up. The only difference? Timing. They're on the other side of the click, and you're one moment away from it. Because here's the truth about transformation. It doesn't happen slowly the way you think. You don't wake up a little better each day until one day you've arrived. No, you stay the same for a long time. Longer than feels fair. Longer than feels reasonable. And then, suddenly, everything clicks. The struggle makes sense. The lessons connect. The version of you that was forming in the dark finally shows up. And it happens so fast, you'll sit there wondering, how did I get here? But it wasn't overnight. It was every single day you showed up in the dark. Every moment you kept going when you couldn't see the point. Every time you chose belief over proof. That was the sun rising, just below your line of sight. And it's still rising, right now. You're closer than you think. So close, in fact, that if you knew where to reach, you could touch it. Now listen carefully. The reason this final hour feels so hard is because this is where your faith gets tested. Not easy faith, not the kind that believes when there are signs. This is raw faith, the kind that keeps going, even when everything looks the same. That's the faith that transforms you. That's the faith that prepares you for what's coming next. And what's coming? It's big, bigger than you're ready to handle, unless you go through this part first. Because if it came too early, you wouldn't know how to carry it. Right now you're being prepared. In the confusion, in the waiting, in the doubt. You're not falling apart, you're becoming. And becoming always feels like this. Like you're stuck between two versions of yourself. Like you're suspended in a phase that will never end. But it will end. In fact, it's ending right now. You're just in the final stretch, the part right before everything shifts. And I know you're tired of hearing, just a little longer. You've been patient, you've been consistent, you've done everything you were supposed to do, and still, no visible results. But here's what you need to understand. The results aren't coming when you're ready. They're coming because you're ready. You've already crossed the threshold, you just haven't seen the evidence yet. But when the moment comes, when everything aligns, when everything suddenly makes sense, you'll understand why it took this long. You'll see that every doubt built strength, every delay built capacity, every moment you almost quit built the foundation for what's next. And what's next? It changes everything. Your story, your identity, your direction. You're not far. You're right there. So here's what you do now. Stop trying to see the whole picture. Stop trying to force clarity out of confusion. Stop trying to connect dots that haven't revealed themselves yet. Because right now, you're not meant to see everything. Not yet. And that's the part that frustrates you, isn't it? Because you've been patient. You've been trying to understand. You've been doing everything right. And still, it feels unclear. But what if clarity isn't missing? What if it's just not required for this phase. You're not in a phase of understanding. You're in a phase of becoming. And becoming doesn't always make sense while it's happening. So instead of trying to figure everything out, you're meant to keep moving anyway. Stop overthinking every step. Stop replaying every decision in your head. Stop asking, what if this doesn't work? Because that question has been keeping you stuck longer than anything else. And let's be honest, if you had all the answers right now, if you knew exactly how it would unfold, you wouldn't grow into the person who can actually handle it. So, stop waiting. Stop waiting for certainty before you act. Stop waiting for confidence before you move. Because in the final hour, certainty doesn't come first. Movement does. You won't see clearly right now. You won't feel fully confident. You won't have all the answers lined up in front of you. And yes, that's uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Because this phase, it isn't about clarity. It's about commitment. So what do? You simplify, you take one more step. Not a perfect step, not a big step. Just the next one. Even if it feels small. Even if it feels invisible. Even if it feels like it doesn't matter. Because those are the steps that matter most. The ones no one applauds. The ones no one sees. The ones that feel like nothing, but change everything. You give it one more day. Not forever. Not, I'll do this for the rest of my life. Just today. You wake up and you choose again. You show up again. You try again. And then tomorrow, you make the same decision. You make one more decision not to quit. Not because it's easy. Not because you feel strong. Not because you're sure it will work. But because something inside you refuses to let go. And that something, that quiet resistance to quitting, that's not weakness. That's truth. That's the part of you that already knows you're closer than you think. That's how you win this moment. Not by understanding everything, but by outlasting the doubt. Not by having perfect vision, but by refusing to stop in the dark. And here's the truth most people never realize. Right before everything clicks, everything goes quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Not the kind that makes you feel calm or safe, but the kind that makes you uncomfortable, restless, uneasy, the kind that makes you question everything. It feels like the world just paused, like something should be happening, but nothing is. You check for signs, there are none. You look for progress, you can't see it. You wait for momentum, it doesn't come. No excitement, no validation, no reassurance, no sudden breakthroughs, just silence. Heavy, confusing silence. And that silence, it's dangerous because it looks like nothing is working. It feels like you've hit a dead end, like all your effort is disappearing into nothing. And that's exactly where most people quit. Right there, in the silence. Not at the beginning, not in the middle, but at the very end. Right before everything shifts. They mistake the quiet for failure. They assume if nothing's happening, then nothing is happening. So they walk away. They let go. They stop. And the hardest truth, they were seconds away. Seconds away from clarity. Seconds away from movement. Seconds away from the thing finally making sense. But they couldn't see it, so they left. Don't make that mistake. Because that silence, it's not empty. It's loaded. It's anticipation. It's pressure building beneath the surface. It's everything aligning quietly, invisibly, powerfully. It's the moment right before everything shifts into place. It's the pause before the storm breaks. The inhale before the shout. The stillness before the explosion of change. And you're standing right in it. So don't leave now. Don't walk away in the final hour. Don't let the quiet convince you that nothing is coming. Because the only thing separating you from your breakthrough right now is just a little more patience, a little more endurance, a little more belief, especially when belief feels the hardest. And if this is hitting you, if something inside you is tightening, if something deep within you is whispering, this feels real, then don't ignore that. That feeling, that's not random. That's not coincidence. That's not just emotion. That's recognition. That's the part of you that already knows you're closer than you think. So pause for a second. Not later. Not after this ends. Right now. Be honest with yourself. Not the version of you that explains things away. Not the version that overthinks everything. But the quiet, unfiltered part of you that already knows. If you can feel that subtle certainty beneath all the noise, even just a little, even if it's faint, fragile, barely there, acknowledge it. Don't brush past it. Don't overanalyze it. Don't try to prove it. Just recognize it. Because that feeling, that quiet pull, that calm underneath the chaos, that's not confusion. That's clarity. Just not the loud kind. You don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You don't have to defend it or justify it. but somewhere, internally or externally, lock it in. 4 simple words. It's about to click. Not as hope, not as wishful thinking, not as something you want to happen, as a decision, as something you've chosen to stand on, even when everything around you feels uncertain. Because the moment you say it, even quietly, even privately, something shifts, subtly, powerfully. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but it's real. You stop being someone who's waiting, and you become someone who's ready. And that difference, it changes everything, because waiting comes from doubt, but readiness comes from belief. And that shift, that internal switch flipping from maybe to I'm prepared, that's where everything begins to move. Not outside first, but inside. And once it moves inside, the outside has no choice but to follow. You're not crazy, even if it feels like you are sometimes. You're not behind, even if it looks like everyone else is ahead. You're not lost, even if you can't clearly see where you're going. You didn't mess it up. You didn't ruin your chances. You didn't miss your moment. Nothing slipped past you. Nothing was taken from you. Nothing was too late. You were just early. And being early, it doesn't feel like an advantage. It feels like a mistake. It feels like doubt. It feels like confusion. It feels like standing still while everyone else seems to be moving forward. It feels like watching people figure it out while you're still trying to understand where you are. It feels like questioning yourself again and again and again. Am I doing the right thing? Is this even working? Should I stop? And those questions get louder right before the answer arrives, because that's what being early feels like. It feels like being wrong, until suddenly you're not. Until the moment everything finally makes sense. Until the moment the pieces start connecting. Not slowly, but all at once. Until the moment the fog lifts and you can finally see what was always there. Until the moment you look back and everything clicks into place. And in that moment, you don't just understand what happened. You understand why it had to happen that way. You see the delays differently. You see the silence differently. You even see your doubts differently. And you realize something powerful. You were never lost. Not for a second. You were never behind. Not even close. You were exactly where you needed to be. Becoming who you needed to become. You were just ahead of your time. In that moment, the one where everything shifts, the one where it all makes sense, it's not far away. It's not someday. It's not some distant future you have to chase. It's not one day, maybe. It's closer than you think, closer than you feel, closer than you can currently see, because it's not something you have to go find. It's something that's already forming, right now, quietly, without noise, without attention, without validation, powerfully, with precision, with intention, with momentum you can't yet measure, unstoppably, regardless of your doubt, regardless of your fear, regardless of how unclear things feel. It's building, under the surface, where you can't track it, beyond your sight, where you can't control it, without your permission, because it doesn't need it. It's happening, even in the moments you think nothing is happening, even in the days that feel wasted, even in the silence that feels empty. It's all part of it. And whether you realize it or not, whether you feel it strongly or barely at all, whether you believe it completely or are still unsure, it doesn't change the truth. It's already in motion, it's already unfolding, and very soon, sooner than you expect, it's going to make sense. It's going to come together. And when it does, you won't question it anymore. You won't doubt it anymore. You won't need reassurance anymore, because you'll be standing in it, living it, experiencing it, and you'll look back at this moment, this quiet, uncertain, confusing moment, and realize this was it. This was the edge. This was the turning point, and everything changed from here, because it was never falling apart. It was always coming together. And now it's about to show you. It's about to make sense. It's about to click.